In this tutorial, I'm going to show you some of my techniques for creating super cool grungy text. These effects are perfect if you want to get that film look or if you need a rugged style for your project. You'll learn all kinds of cool tips, tricks, and shortcuts along the way, so if you ask me, I recommend sticking around. Links are in the description for the project file, my courses on Skillshare and Udemy, the School of AE featuring presets, templates, courses, coaching, and more, my 7-minute AE store, and my affiliates, ENVATO Elements and AE Juice, as well as ways you can help keep this channel alive. Okay, there's a lot to get through, so let's dive right in. Okay, so for this project, we're going to go 1 by 1, 1080 by 1080. I'm just going to call this comp text. We're going to go for about 6 seconds. Click OK. So Command or Control T, and let's create some text. I'm just going to type grungy film look. I'm on a Mac keyboard, so the easiest way I found to center up text really quick is to hold down Function, Command, Option, left arrow, and that's going to center your anchor point to your text, and then Function, Command, left arrow is going to center your text to your comp. We are left justified, so if you're not left justified, just go to your paragraph panel and do that there. I'm using Montserrat, extra bold. I've got it all caps. We'll just go ahead and make our size 240. Then you can adjust your kerning and leading in any way that you would like to get the look that you're going for. I'm going to drag in this grunge texture. This is going to be in your project file, so you can have that. I'm just going to drop it underneath my text. And then I'm just going to kind of scale this down so that way it fits our comp. Now let's track matte the grunge texture up to our grungy text look. Let's right click on that layer, choose Effect, Color Correction, and I'm going to add in a curves, and then just kind of tweak this so that way it's really bright. So we want the white to really stand out, but also kind of retain some of that grungy texture. Okay, so now I'm going to animate our text using some text animators. So let's just open that up, click our Animate button there, and then choose Enable Per Character 3D. We're going to add in a position and also add in an opacity. Now, I have a ton of tutorials on text animators, so if some of this is unfamiliar to you, check out some of my other tutorials. I'm just going to kind of bang through this really quick so that way we can get this animation going. Okay, so on our position, let's change our Z value to -1500, opacity down to 0. I'll open up my range selector under the Advanced tab. Let's go ahead and change our shape from square to ramp up, and that's going to make our offset range -100% up to 100%. That's just going to animate this in first character first to last character. So I want to turn on my randomization so that way these will come in a randomized kind of way, and then also increase our ease low up to 100%. And think of ease low as ease in. Again, if this stuff is unfamiliar, just check out some of my other tutorials where I break down the ins and outs of text animators. So now if we watch that play back, we can kind of see how this is going to come in. I'm just going to retime some of this animation. And whenever I'm doing text animation or even shape layer animation, I always like to enable motion blur. Okay, so let's press P for position on our text layer, and then Option or Alt click on the stopwatch for position. And we're going to type in wiggle 10,3. Okay, and now I'm going to parent my grunge layer up to my text layer. So that way the grunge will move with my text on that little bit of a wiggle there. And let's just go ahead and undo that. And I want to show you why I'm doing that. If you push in here, you can see that the grunge layer isn't moving with our wiggle on our position. Parent that up to your text layer so that way it sticks to your text. And it just looks a little bit better, I think. Okay, so now let's create a solid. So Command or Control Y. And it doesn't matter what color it is because we are going to be adding in some fills. Put your playhead at 1 second with that solid layer selected, left bracket to drag that over. And then I'm just going to change my mode from normal to multiply. And then we're going to select this button right here. You'll see as we hover over it, it says Preserve Underlying Transparency. So that's going to make this yellow solid only show up on the layers that are not transparent. Okay, now let's split that solid by Shift Command D. And then let's go to Effect, Generate, Fill. It's going to default to red, so I'm just going to kind of tweak this color here. Let's go forward a little bit further, and again, Command Shift D to split that. And then I'm just going to delete that last layer. So if we watch it play back, we can kind of see we get these little splashes of color. You can kind of tweak this to get the right amount that you'd like. I like mine to go a little bit quicker like that, but you can spread yours out to whatever speed you like. Select our text layer and our grunge layer. Command Shift D to split both of those. So that way they both go together. Okay, so I'm going to move both of those layers up to the top. Change our text, cool textures for titles. Tweak some of these settings so that way the text fits within our comp. Function, Command, Option, left arrow to center my anchor point to my text layer, and then Function, Command, left arrow to center that to my comp. Open up our text animator, grab these keyframes and move them to the beginning of this layer. So let's make our Z value 0, and then let's change position to 500 on the X-axis. Take off Enable per character 3D because we're no longer using 3D for this layer. And then let's go ahead and open up our Advanced tab. We're going to change this from characters to words, and I'm going to take off randomized order so that way it comes in one line at a time, starting with our first line. Okay, and since I kind of tweaked the size of some of this text, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my kerning and lighting a little bit to make sure that this looks right. Let's take this solid layer and duplicate that. So Command or Control D, move it above the second set of text here. I'm just going to go ahead and change my color on this. For now, I'm going to take off my motion blur so that way I can just kind of see what's going on a little bit better. And now I'm going to mask out this blue texture so that way it goes over some of my text. And now we want to take that solid and let's parent that to our text layer, because remember we have a wiggle expression. And if we don't parent this, then the mask could get off. So just make sure that you parent that solid to that text. Okay, and then I want to split this layer. So Command Shift D to split that. And let's just change our mask from add to subtract. And that will make our blue go from textures 4 to cool titles. Shift Command or Control D to split. Move those layers to the top and let's just change our text one more time. Make your text rock. Function, Command, Option, left arrow to center my anchor point to my text, and then Function, Command, left arrow to center it to our comp. But I actually want it to be over towards the left, so that way it kind of matches our other text. Okay, so let's open up that text layer and let's just delete this text animator. Now let's go over to Effects and Presets and type in Typewriter. Make sure your playhead is at the beginning and just double click Typewriter. Press U to bring up our keyframes. These keyframes go off screen, so just pull that layer over until you can see both keyframes, and then left bracket to move that text layer back over. Let's open up our range selector, Advanced, and as you can see it comes on one character at a time, so I'm going to change this to words, and again just adjust your speed to get the look that you're going for. And I actually want this animation to begin as soon as our playhead gets to the beginning of this layer. So you might want to go ahead and increase your start percentage to where the first word comes on. As you can see, it's going to be 22%. So if we don't increase that, there's going to be a little bit of a lag whenever we get to that layer. Take this solid here and Command or Control D to duplicate and move this to the very top above this last text animation. Hit your left bracket to move that over to where your playhead is and kind of spread that out. And just make sure that you are parenting that solid to the right text layer. And again, I'm going to take my rectangle tool and let's go ahead and mask this out. So text will be the only word that has color on it. Shift, Command, or Control D to split. M for mask, and then let's just subtract that mask. Command or Control A to select all, and then let's just close up all of these layers so we can see what we're doing just a little bit better. I just want to take a minute to tell you about some of the templates I've been creating to make your life a lot easier. Create lower thirds in the blink of an eye with my Luminatrix lower thirds templates. All you have to do is change text, colors, and make a few decisions about how you want things to animate. All the hard work has been done for you. Get professional looking lower thirds that are powered by Essential Graphics so you can use these templates in both After Effects and Premiere. You also want to check out my Text Animator Toolkit. It's also powered by Essential Graphics so you can easily animate text in both After Effects and Premiere. I take away all the guesswork and time that it would normally take you to get professionally animated text layers. With this toolkit, you'll be animating text in a matter of seconds. Check out the link in the description below for access to presets for virtually everything you could possibly want or need, including presets for text to shape layers, film looks, snow effects, text boxes, text animators, shape layer accents like burst and animated circles, and so much more. With these presets, you save a ton of time, and this channel continues to stay alive. Check out courses, templates, project files, and ways to get personalized coaching from my new School of AE. Okay, so now let's take our text comp and let's drag that into a new comp. Command or Control K to bring up our composition settings, and let's just change this title to Grungy Text Animation. Drag in our grunge underneath our text pre-comp, and we want to fit this to our comp. Command Shift Option G, and that will match your height. And there's no reason to create another solid, so let's just drag in the solid that we've already created. Let's put that underneath our grunge texture. Change the blend mode of our grunge layer to multiply. Okay, now select that solid and let's right click and we want to choose Effect, Generate Fill. and that's going to default to red, and I just want to make this a deeper kind of red. P for position on our grunge layer. Option or Alt click onto the stopwatch and type wiggle 1, 4. Just drag in another instance of that solid. Let's go to Effect, Noise and Grain, Fractal Noise. Okay, let's open up our transform settings and uncheck our uniform scaling. Let's make our scale width 1 and our scale height 5000. Contrast 295 and our brightness -140. Let's change our complexity to 4. And then let's Option or Alt click onto our evolution, and we want to type time times 1000. That's going to make these scratches kind of jump around like that. Now let's change our blend mode from normal to screen, so that way we can see through our scratches onto our grungy film look background. Okay, I'm going to drag in another yellow, and let's call this one Vignette. Right click on the Vignette layer, go to Effect, Generate, Fill, and we just want to make this black. Get our ellipse tool, and we want to double click on that, so that way we get an ellipse mask. Okay, so now let's change our mask from add to subtract. Let's increase our feather up to 350, and then take these edges and just kind of shape it around so that way it's not a perfect circle. We want something that looks a little bit grungier, a little bit more unique. Then let's change our blend mode from normal to classic color burn. Change our mask opacity down to 30%. If you click that off and on, you can see the difference that really does make. Command Option Y to create a new adjustment layer, and let's just call this Tritone. Go over to your effects and presets and type in Tritone, and it's the only option we have. And I'm just going to blend this with the original 75%. And you can see the difference. It just kind of gives it, again, a little bit more of a grungy kind of feel. Okay, and we can drag in that adjustment layer again, and we're going to call this Grain. Go over to our effects and presets and type in Add Grain, and just double click that to add it. Let's change our viewing mode to Final Output. Something to take note of is that whenever you bring in an adjustment layer from your solids folder, you do need to reset it to an adjustment layer. It comes in as a solid. And the way you can make any solid layer an adjustment layer is by clicking this button right here. Change our color on our grain to monochromatic. And if we kind of push in here, you can really see the difference that this grain effect is having. Just kind of gives it, again, that grungy kind of feel. Let's go back into the text comp. We want to add in another adjustment layer. So Command Option Y to add in an adjustment layer. I'm going to rename this to Transform. And let's go to our effects and presets and type in Transform. Double click our Distort Transform effect. Put a keyframe for position and scale. Then let's select both of those, right click, and toggle that to hold keyframes. To make this kind of jump around, just change your scale now, 200. You move your position over a little bit, and then go forward a little bit further and just copy that first set of keyframes and paste it. So you kind of get this effect where the text kind of jumps up at you for a second, where it looks kind of like a glitch. Just select those keyframes again, and we can paste those a little bit further down to affect our second text layer. And, just kind of play around with the settings. You don't want it to be exact. You don't want to jump up to the same exact location. You want it to look glitchy and kind of random. So I'm going to position it so that way the word cool kind of pops in. I copied and pasted those keyframes, but since we're using hold keyframes, we only need to include keyframes where our values are going to be changing. Okay, so let's go down to where our last text layer is, and I'm just going to affect this. That way our text jumps up at us, and maybe we'll have it where we can see the word text pop up like that. Go forward a little bit, and then just copy and paste the keyframes for the original settings. And that's how you can create super cool grungy text. I hope this tutorial helped you out, and that you learned something new and useful. Make sure to come back next time for another tutorial that will expand your knowledge of After Effects, while also teaching you some really cool tips, tricks, and shortcuts. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Support our channel by getting your 7-minute AE merch today at our online store. And sign up for my Udemy course, The Power of Shape Layers. It's guaranteed to make you a shape layer rockstar. The link to that course, to our 7-minute AE store, and the project files for this episode are all in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.